right, I'll just go ahead and start then. Thank you all for coming here. My name is Steven. For those who don't know me, I have been working in Novozymes before, and recently I started my own social media consultancy. Very early days. At Novozymes, I was leading a social business change, or what you call social media change, on how to use it for a business perspective. So pretty exciting. I learned a lot of things, succeeded in a few things. I hope I can share that with you also. But what I really wanted to share with you today was something that I learned in my time at Novozymes. That was a way to look at social media that's fairly simplified, and I would assume that that could maybe help some of you and also help us all sort of understand it together. And it's just this very simple way of looking at it that I think we'll go through. So there are three things I want to share with you today. First thing is how businesses often misunderstand social media. The second thing is the new perspective I'm talking about. And then the third thing is how then we can capture value, or how it's then useful for businesses once you look at it in this new way. All right? Great. Just quickly, show of hands, who has attended the speech before? The one that I think was like at 10 or 11 or 12? All right, so not many of us. Okay, great. Is this your first speech at Social Media Week? Good. All right. Final hands, show of hands. How many of us watched The Roadrunner growing up? Anybody? You know, beep beep? That one? Okay. Great. So I have a metaphor before I even want to start. So, you know how the Roadrunner always runs really fast, right? And then, you know, the coyote never actually catches up. And no matter what he does, he's building all these crazy things. He's pretty smart. He's having, like, you know, sophisticated equipment. He buys all these packages. He builds, he constructs. But yet he never catches the damn Roadrunner. So here's my theory. He's playing the wrong game. Yeah? The Roadrunner is naturally good at running and finding creative, you know. Hi, welcome. So the Roadrunner is, I'm just telling this story about the Roadrunner. Has nothing to do with my speech yet. Okay. Yeah, so back. So the Roadrunner is basically playing a different game from the coyote, right? The Roadrunner is good at running, you know, she or he, I'm not sure, you know, just finds the nooks and crannies, gets away, you know, all the time, right? And then the coyote always constructs. So that's how I compare social media. I see social media as that beep beep, you know, and I see businesses as that coyote playing the wrong game and always trying to catch up. So it's basically not always going to win. But the point is, there's a gap. There's a gap that, you know, businesses have to understand and bridge to get there, to understand what is it that the Roadrunner has that's running away from us. So our generation, all of us, X, Y, millennials, you know, from born in the 80s, maybe a little before, 70s, 70s to 2000s. So all of us, I guess, you know, we have grown up with these intuitive tools. We've grown up with connection and networking. So we are now basically going to be driving how business is going to use this in the future. So, how do businesses misunderstand social media? I joined Novozymes at, I think it was March 2011, and then I was hired in as an e-branding consultant for a global biotech company, and they wanted us to brand stuff on social media. And as soon as I got into the job, after an MBA, so I had a little bit of, you know, business knowledge, so I got into Novozymes and I thought, there's no way we want to sort of promote, you know, Novozymes to students, and that's what they wanted to do. And we wanted to hire people to Twitter. So I was like, this can't be it, right? There's definitely going to be potential customers, clients, and much more significant audience out there in some forum, in some form, in some LinkedIn group somewhere that we need to prioritize before we just brand. So that's one common thing that I believe businesses often misunderstand. So anyone seen that model before? Paid, owned, and earned media? No. Okay, so I'll just explain it very shortly. So if you are a company and then you are trying to brand yourself to an audience, you can do that by paid media. So you can buy channels, you can promote on websites and blogs and magazines that you pay for as a company, and your audience picks it up, right? That's paid media. And then you have owned media, where you build your own Facebook channels, you build your own Twitter channels, and then you build your own website. So that's owned. Your audience also gets a chance to see those things, right? And then there's earned. The earned one is the new one. So the earned one is where the audience talks about you themselves. So Apple, every time Apple releases an iPhone, you know, before it even releases, there's a lot of news in the market on YouTube. There's like 1,000 videos talking about the Apple's new phone. That's earned media. No one's forcing these people to talk about, you know, Apple, but they're doing it themselves. That's the earned media. That's sort of an interesting thing. But yet we see a lot of businesses don't take that seriously. They always just focus on, let's look at the paid stuff, let's look at the own stuff, let's brand, let's promote. That's the confusion, I believe. And I don't know if you've noticed that a lot of the times you go on Facebook or on Twitter, you'll see a lot of promotions going on. And maybe that's fun, maybe that's good, maybe you'll get some good deals out of it. But there's no relationship really being built. I'll give an example. So this lady here, up there, she says she's having a major crisis, and she, you know, at the rates, Shoe Lovers, this is like a shoe brand. And she has a crisis that she needs to get solved, and she's frustrated that the call center closes at 7. And we see social media is pretty famous, you know, starting in the call center arena. Of course, you might heard this before. So right away, the shoe warehouse, you know, tweets back, okay, great, just tweet us, we might be able to help. This might be a small thing, right? But in the bigger scheme of things, this customer had a crisis moment, reached out to a brand, the brand responded immediately. There was this little bit of interaction that I believe has more value in the long run than just a promotion. It means more than, here you go, that's a 10% discount. Does everybody think this makes, you know, is it a good idea or not compared to a promotion? Would you prefer a 10% discount on your shoe brand next time you go shopping? Or would you prefer that? It's an interesting thought. Anyway, I believe that businesses sometimes prioritize too much on the 10% of, you know, promotion and business, because sometimes we don't always need that. We want to sort of get to know a brand, and the brand taking care of this individual here, she was happy. Now, all of us not going to always complain to a brand. Every time we buy a pen, it's having a problem. We're not always going to go complain. We're not the ones who always complain and rant, right? But some of us are. So here's the trick. Why do businesses always think about it from a promotion mechanic? That's because in the past, marketing has been thought about holistically. When you're sitting in a marketing desk, now I know there's a lot of us who have worked in marketing, not worked in marketing, some students, some senior managers here. But if you look at marketing from a business standpoint, you know, there's advertising, there's events, there's web, there's direct marketing, there are a lot of different mechanics that you can sort of market your products and services with. And then when social media came about, it was just very simply put as, all right, social media, great, your web, all right, let's look at social media. Let's get Facebook likes, let's do some Twitter, you know, go to an event, let's do that too. So it was just sort of one part of the marketing mix. And most organizations, that's where social media got started to be used. So I'm a marketing manager or communication manager in a company. I see social media as one link in my promotional mix. Yeah? Has everybody heard or, you know, seen integrated marketing model before? Or am I showing it for the first time? Okay, not too many. Okay, so I will not try to go too much about it. But the point is just that social media is one element, or has been seen as one element in the promotional mix for a business. That's the key message here. The reality is, as we all know it, it's basically a touch point in every part of the marketing mix. When we go to an event like this one, we have an app, we're being social, right? When we are going to the website, we can go to the LinkedIn and the Facebook, we can be social. Let's see, when we real-time advertising on TV, when you watch series, for example, you have like hashtag and that, right? Series that you watch. I don't know what series you watch. So there's a social element in all parts of your interaction on a daily basis. And from a marketing point of view, believe it or not, it might sound strange, but it has been hard for businesses to really understand that over the coming years. They're just starting to realize that now. So that's why. So I wanted to give you, I had to use that cool graphic. Not too bad. So I gave you a little explanation of how businesses, I believe, are a bit confused when it comes to social media. They think it's too much promotion, and they think it's one tool in the marketing mix. All right? Everybody get registered? So now I would like you to sort of park that idea and just go on this little story with me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to give you a metaphor of the whole online space, right? This is a new perspective now. I hope I don't tease it too much and then get you too excited and it's not going to work out. So, if everybody forgets, all that they know about online and web, forget everything. You don't know online, you don't know web, you don't know Google, you don't know social media. It doesn't exist. All right? And I want you to imagine, everybody here has been to an exhibition hall. Show of hands, exhibition hall. Huge, with a lot of booths. Everybody's been there, right? Great. That makes my life a little easier. So, just imagine yourself, the last time you went to an exhibition hall, you went there, you were interested in, let's say, I'm going to use shoes, for example, because I see a lot of lovely ladies here. You go to the exhibition hall, you want to go check out different booths of different brands of shoes. So you go to the receptionist, sign up your name, you get your tag, whatever, and then you go into this exhibition hall, right? Fair enough. What is really happening here is, if you really think about it, what I want you to see is that when you go to this exhibition hall, that is basically you going to Google. Everybody can make the connection? So when you're opening your laptop and you're searching Google, that is the entrance to the exhibition hall. Yeah? And then Google gives you top 10 list of locations where those booths are. Make the connection? So when you're walking into this exhibition hall, that's basically the World Wide Web. And each event booth, that is a website. So when you walk and then you look at the shoes and you hold the brochure, you talk to the girl, you see a physical banner. That's an online website banner. You get the idea, right? That's a physical representation of the website world. You walk around, you surf, you see links, you see promotional banners linking to the other booth, you walk around, that's fine. You get the idea, that's backlinks. Everybody made the connection, good. So then you're walking around in this website, you're surfing this exhibition hall, and then you hear, okay, not many partiers here. So let's say you hear violin maybe, I don't know. Whatever is a loungy, relaxed thing, right? So, yeah, maybe you're Justin Bieber, I don't know. Whatever works for you. So, you hear this in the corner somewhere. So you're walking, through this exhibition hall and you open this door, and then you see this huge lounge area, people having fun, relaxing, skateboarding, whatever. You go in there, you take off your jacket, you're chilling out, wearing your shorts, I don't know, barbecuing a little bit. You meet your friends and you say, hey, what's up? Long time, man. Tell me your status. What's been going on? I like your shoes. You already get the idea, right? What room or what area this is. Yeah, that's the Facebook area, right? So we're lounging, we're relaxing, we're having fun, right? It's not a channel. It's a space we are social, right? So I walk out of the Facebook area after I've had my barbecue and relaxed with my friends, got some updates and everything. I walk out and then I go to this other huge hallway. I hear a lot of news-related stuff, and I'm hearing it, and I'm wondering there's so much noise everywhere, right? And I go in, and there's a lot of small podiums everywhere. And then there are people standing on these podiums with these speakerphones and speaking very short messages like, hey, guess what, 20% off this thing, or, oh shit, earthquake happened, I don't know. Whatever they might be tweeting, right? So that's what Twitter would look like in the real world, right? People standing on podiums, speakerphone and going going on and on. I'm not trying to get you to find it funny, but what I'm trying to say is that, and then you have followers standing, listening to these guys, right? So that's what the Twitter room would look like. And then a retweet, what would that be? So if I hear a guy saying, oh shit, earthquake, and I'm standing there, and then I hear that, and then I go to the guy next door and say, did you hear the guy say earthquake? That's a retweet, right? A whisper, a passing on of a message. Right? I hope everybody follows. That's good. So I walk out of the Twitter room and I go into another room where I put back my suit on and I'm sitting on a table, a round table. I meet a lot of my alumni people. I meet a lot of recruitment and headhunters. Guess what room this is? Yeah? Good. Go to the other room. A lot of television screens everywhere. I'm allowed to plug in my phone and stream a video to show everybody in the world. You get the idea. The YouTube room. So this is sort of the simplified, I believe, simplified metaphor of all of the online space in a physical reality. Now, here's the interesting part. All of this was boring until now. So the interesting part is, today we have technologies that when you walk, every one of us, individuals or businesses, when we walk into this exhibition hall with these event booths, right? And this lounge area, and this Twitter area, we have with us what I call the Harry Potter invisibility cloak. Everybody know that? Please tell me you watch Harry Potter. Great. Okay. Whew. So we have the invisibility cloak, And with that invisibility cloak, we can walk around this whole space, hang out with our friends without them knowing we're there, right? Everybody stalk their friends on Facebook. I know no one wants to admit this, but I do it a little bit sometimes because I'm interested in them, not because I'm spying on them. But when you have this invisibility cloak, what you can do is you can hear conversations that might matter to you, and they can talk about you without you being there. If you're a business, that's very, very valuable because every conversation could be an interest signal, could be a buying signal of your brand. So let's say you are a finance company. I know it's very boring, but I couldn't find a better example. Okay, no, let's say you are a shoe seller. You're going back to shoes. You're a shoe seller, and you're going in there with your invisibility cloak, and then you hear a lot of these lovely ladies talking about this next bachelorette party. Do you buy shoes when you go to a bachelorette party? No, what's an occasion you buy shoes? Or like a big life occasion? Wedding. Okay. Let's say they're talking about a wedding. This conversation right here, 20 girls, tagging their friends, each other on a wedding, this activity that's going on is basically the biggest buying and interest signal for a shoe brand. So that could be quite interesting. I don't think so brands consider that activity sometimes as signals. They look at conversations, but there's also life activities that's kind of fascinating here, if you really think about it from a business point of view. Now, of course, you don't want to go and sell there, walk in and go take out your invisibility cloak and say, hey ladies, buy my shoes. See, that's the promotion bit that businesses get wrong, right? You don't go there, listen to a conversation, take off your invisibility cloak and say, buy my sorry for the French. You go in there and then with your invisibility cloak, you talk to some friends, some wedding experts and say, hey, by the way, these are the latest, shoe trends in, the fashion world of weddings. Have a look. Maybe it'll help you make your decision, right? See, so wouldn't you feel more comfortable sort of interacting with the brand if they gave you that option rather than saying, hey, buy my stuff, bam, 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 right?
Kind of an utopia that we're talking about right now.
A little bit, yeah.
I think you're glorifying the big data, the big business, because it doesn't matter how much data you have, it's about smart data.
Yeah.
It's not about, I know, you should know, to know is to control and knowledge is power. But if we look at the future where we're heading right now,
yeah,
and all the amazing things we can do with data, is this the right way to go? To kind of violate the privacy policy in a way that let's not track them, let's look for behavioral patterns into where we can actually force some consumption upon the consumer. This is why I think it's a bit wrong. Well, you should turn it around. No, not it's not the big data part that's wrong. It's just, could we do it another way?
Yeah.
Because one of the things that will be a key point in the future is privacy policy.
Absolutely.
It has already taken effect, especially in the US right now.
Yeah.
This is just, it's a concern.
Yeah. Fantastic point. For everybody who maybe got too mesmerized, I don't think so you were mesmerized. He was a little bit mesmerized. But, so, there's a privacy concern. Everybody knows, the NSA, the surveillance and all that. I'm not talking about that here. Yeah, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about here is what we are already doing personally with our friends. When we are already looking and sharing with our friends and we like each other's liked pages and stuff like that. That's activity that's already publicly available. Just to clarify that, if anybody had any doubt. But what's interesting is, again, the brand has an invisibility cloak, right? These friends already like a wedding page. All these friends like a wedding page. That wedding page not necessarily always, shares good fashionable trends for shoes when they could. So that's something very interesting to think about. Also, actually, I left one part out now that I realized, so thanks for bringing that up.
What I meant was, the Einstein's quotation is that not everything that matters can be measured, and not everything you measure matters.
That's true.
Yeah, and that's just, if we are to abuse this kind of data, how are we going to do it?
I don't see it as abusing, but I'll tell you what. I will definitely, because I have half an hour, and the last 15 minutes we have for discussion, so I'll definitely come back to discussion. It's very interesting. But abuse is a very big word, don't you think?
Yeah, I know. Ideally quotation.
Okay. But anyway, Sorry about that. I think it's a very fair point. Privacy and data, we'll come back to that in the last 15 minutes. So we have 15 minutes to discuss. All right, good. So where was I? Yes, another element. So a blog, what would a blog look like? Anybody? So I talked to you about the Facebook space, right? The Twitter space, the YouTube space, the LinkedIn space in the real world. What would a blog look like in a physical world? So it would look like a blogger standing there giving his views, and it would be maybe a person like him commenting on my views. Sometimes not perfectly aligned, that's fine. Yeah, and then we have different views coming up in the audience, right? So that's what I would believe a physical blog would look like. An expert or somewhat subject matter knowledgeable person, and then sharing comments with each other. So there's also a lot of opportunity if you look at comments on blogs, for example. There's a lot of activity and conversation going on in blogs that could be valuable to you, and these are all publicly available information. Anyway, that's the lens I wanted to give you. So we physicalize all of social media and the online space. Everybody had an idea. And then we have these ways that brands can understand buying intent and interest, and people can share and connect with each other, and also basically build relationships with brand. And it doesn't have to be always buying and selling and promotion all the time. And that's why I believe that businesses have been going it a bit wrong by too much promotion and too much branding. I was supposed to use this slide to make your imaginations a little easier. So I think you get the idea. I'm going to skip these slides. Everybody here has watched Flintstones? Yes. That makes my life a bit easier too. Has everybody seen this slide before? No? Oh crap. Okay, so actually it's meant to be pretty interesting. So if you look at this, I believe that they're already Facebooking. Isn't that an interesting thought? So this is the Stone Age, and that's a caveman woman, man or woman, cave individual. Writing on the wall, carving some. We had these like hand paintings, right? So I think we were Facebooking already like generations ago. Technology did nothing for Facebook. We've already been socializing. It just made it faster. It made it much more easier to connect with a lot more people. So we've already been Facebooking a long time ago, and you see the they liked it. So what is the difference? I think you mentioned it a little bit. The difference is we're still socializing today in the same way, but now our activity, which was also previously documentable on the piece of rock, on the wall. So that's like someone's Facebook wall, right? That's somebody Facebooking, I think. But now that wall is just much more visible to all of our friends. And instead of only these 3 people who can like and see, a lot more people can like and see. So it's not it sounds a bit obvious, but to some it might not be. So we're doing that. What we've already done before, socializing at a much more, speedier, faster level. So that gives rise to sort of what, Mark Zuckerberg calls the social graph, the graph with which we, can see who we like, what our interests are and all. And some of it is personal to us. We don't want to share to others. We have privacy settings for that. Some of it is publicly available because we want our friends to know what we like, what we share. And then we discuss, and then we have interest-based groups, etc., etc., etc. Yeah? Instead of brands and companies trying to use this, again, to promote, they should use this to understand their customer. So an example would be, if you are a lady going to buy a shoe and you like this particular brand, and every time you buy these heels, it always freaking breaks. And that's the most annoying thing, right? When you're out somewhere and your heel breaks. I've not been a lady wearing a shoe, but as a guy, maybe it's when you are driving a car and your, engine fails sometimes, when you're going with your friends somewhere. But these moments where, the brand or the company or the product lets you down, that's when it annoys you the most. And that's when we feel the urge to sort of go onto Facebook and we rant a bit. I don't know if we all also do that. Everybody does that or not? Am I the only one? Okay. I mean, haven't you called the phone company sometimes, and then they take an hour or maybe oh, by the way, waiting time 10 minutes. Thank you, man, I'm a paying customer. Why do I have to wait for you 10 minutes, right? I'd rather reach you out on Facebook maybe, and you come solve my problem right away. That's how it came about. So my point is, if companies actually understand that a little better, what they could do is they could try to understand you before, you reach out to them and then wait and wait and wait. So I want to shift the power to us people a little more and get companies to get to understand us, to understand what makes us, what's interesting to us as a group, as individuals. If I'm a shoe company, what's the largest audience of ladies who are buying sneakers? What are their interests? If their interest is, physical, anatomy or science or chemical engineering or whatever that might be that they're studying at the moment or they're learning at the moment, let's discuss that. Let's bring that as a discussion point, build a relationship. And that's what I don't believe a lot of brands are doing. There's some brands that are doing it pretty well. Actually, Nike does it pretty well. Nike is a good example. So Nike has the thing called, the fitness app, where they're actually helping people, what's it called, manage their nutrition better. So it's not about selling shoes, it's about nutrition and exercise. And that's sort of the relationship that they're building with their clients. So that's a good example. So they've always been social, now it's online and visible. Anybody seen this slide before? No? Okay, you have? Where? That's not true, that's my original slide. Okay. I caught you there. It's a trick question. Okay, no, maybe it's been available. So this is what's something I used at Novozymes to target a customer. So what we did was we wanted to understand this man here and his network. And why is he linked to some people? Why is he not linked to some people? So what we found out was he was basically linked to a lot of NGOs and he was not linked to a lot of competitors. That kind of thinking can sort of uncover insights. I won't get to too much detail, but the point is when you look at someone's social graph or when you look at how we are connected as friends, let's take a look at when you are connected with a new friend, for example. He's connected with 5 of your other friends. Why is he not connected to the other 2 or 3? Maybe there has been some history there or there's something there. So you have to be a bit investigative in the way you interact. So it's about a bit of social intelligence or social analyzing on your own. And I believe we do that to some degree. When we are gossiping about, each other's friends group, we talk about, hey, did that guy or girl date him? Or, are they friends? Or what's your relationship? So that kind of mindset can be really valuable to business if they think about the audiences in that way. Why do these audiences like this brand and not that? How can my brand be very valuable to them in a different way? What's the interest hook? Or what's the interesting thing that might be able to build a relationship between the brand and the customer? So, I think I gave you an idea, how we often, as companies, sometimes confuse the power of social media and promote too much. I've given you a view of how, to look at social media from a new perspective, right? How we physicalize online space and how we know that we can learn and share and connect from each other. And it's all about interests and how company can then build relationship with those interests. Now I want to go to the last part, is true business value. So when we dive one layer deeper as a company, so I hope I don't go too theoretical or practical on you. But everybody thinks that this is something new, or is it something they've heard before? Just quick show of hands, and you've heard this before about how companies are analyzing social networks and maps and then trying to understand and build relationships? Okay, so some new, some not new. All right. The difference is that we are now not always analyzing the conversation in detail, but we're looking at activity also. So for example, like I mentioned, the vetting group activity happening. They like a vetting page. That vetting page can then build a relationship with them using the latest trends in shoes, for example. Yeah? So that's the difference. Okay, I can already see you. I'm losing you a little bit. Start at the bottom, right here. Don't go off there yet. So, everybody here is working. How many students here? Only students. Okay. So, let's imagine yourself, you're working in a company. And if it's your student, just imagine your personal brand, for example. Everybody working in a company, your brand is quite important because how people talk about you is important, right? If they say bad things, you want to make sure that they're not, you understand why they're speaking bad things, and then you want to change that perception. But if you look one layer above, what we can do with social media now is not only understand what is being said about your company or your technologies, but what are being said about your customer's company, your customer's technology. Above that also could be industry-related themes. I'm going to go back to the shoe example. I know you don't like the shoes anymore, maybe. But let's say I am Echo. Echo is not here, right? Because I know the guy, he would have been here. Okay, it's a good example. So let's say Echo. We want to see, who in the world today talks about Echo brands. We also want to see, I really hope he's not here. I'm going to join his speech later so he can take back revenge. So we want to see also what are Echo's suppliers talking about in the market? What are people talking about Echo's brands? What are people talking about Echo's customers, perhaps? But here's one very interesting thing. When you go one layer above, why don't we look at conversations? This is a company speaking, this is Echo. Why don't we look at talking about, I don't know, shoe production trends in the East? I know it's not a great, sexy topic for, us consumers, but from a business point of view, what about the shoe trends in the different market? Or what about, I don't know, how much flip-flops are now trending much more than, et cetera, et cetera. So that's sort of more high-level marketing trends that are also discussed online by influencers. What is an influencer? Anybody here can tell me? An online influencer? No? You want to try? Give it a go. So that's a good definition of influencer. So Cloud Score is an online metric that measures how much you post, your relevant followers, so some sort of online influence. There's also a huge other layer to influence. Let's say my Cloud Score is 0, yeah? But tomorrow I might buy 10,000 shoes from Echo. Who's more influential? A guy with 100 Cloud Score or me who's going to buy 10,000 shoes for a big birthday? It's a little tricky, right? So influencer can be defined in different ways, and here's where it gets interesting. Even among your social circle of friends, some of us might define some friends as more influential in some things. Some might define some friends influential in other things. We might see some friends is always like having parties, he's a party influencer in my social circle. Another one is like academically very good. She or he is an academic influencer in my social circle. Another one might be, I don't know, a career one, the one who got the first job. She might be a career influencer in my social circle. For businesses, it's the same thing. When we look at, from a business point of view, we have different influencers in the market. Some of them we know, some of us we don't. For example, when I was in Novozymes, we thought we knew all the influencers. World #1 biotech company, we know everybody, we were great. But then we found out, Treehugger, treehugger.com, we found out that Treehugger actually had a lot of influence to Novozymes market. Very strange. And the reason we found out that was because we knew that Al Gore, hopefully you all know Al Gore, was doing a lot of comments on the new energy technologies in the US on treehugger.com. And he was talking about the energy mix in the US and comparing different technologies. I don't want to get too nerdy on you. But the point was, what he said on this very globally available platform could impact the way public perception and large audience perception was of Novozymes technologies. So sometimes influencers might not be just someone with a Cloud Score. It could be someone with huge buying potential to your business. It could be someone who had public affairs or PR influence to your business. It gets a little tricky. I'm going a bit further in. And then how do you segment those influencers? I don't want to get too nerdy on you, but this is one more layer in. So that's an influencer map, all right, on social media. Let's say you are a small company. Everybody want to start a small company here, like me? Okay, thank you for the support. Everybody in a big company. So everybody has influencers, whether you're a business or a person, around them. Do you understand today who's influencing you? Can you categorize them in some ways? How do they matter to your business? Maybe these are the commercial ones. Maybe these are the guys that are the ones who are influential to your money. They're going to buy your products. They're going to buy your brands. If I'm a shoe company, maybe these are the 20,000 Danish ladies who are buying the most shoes and talking about it the most on Facebook, and their friends are listening to them a lot. So I, as Echo, want to build relationship with these 20 cool ladies because they will then sort of spread word of mouth online for me. Yeah, brand ambassadors online. Maybe those influencers are very smart idea thinkers online. Maybe we're creative academic students, those green ones. That's why, you know Lego? Of course you do. Lego has this kind of Lego built by fans product line, right? That's when they got fans from online to build products with them. There are a lot of companies trying to experiment that with social media. What they're doing is they're basically finding, you know, influencers or people who are very excited about their brand, giving a lot of ideas, building relationships with them, saying, hey, I saw you, you know, try to create something cool. Let's talk as a company. Let's do something together. And that way you build an ambassador, just a few minutes. You build an ambassador, and then you have a group of sort of external advocates to your company. So categorization of influencer is important. The criteria you use to categorize your influencer is important as a business. That's an example of a company that do it in real time. So that's even one more layer. So of course that, you know, categorization and influence seems like something you have to take months to do. Of course you have to set it up. It takes time as a business. You will get there. You have to learn and understand. But it also can be done in real time. And that's kind of where technology is going on right now. That's why guys like me exist today with a small business, because that's what I'm consulting or trying to consult big companies with, is how can we manage and understand your influence real time in the market? How do we know who are the ones that can impact your customer buying behavior on a social layer? Yeah? Who are the ones, when you wear that invisibility cloak, are hanging out with everybody, basically, and handing out the drinks or not? I don't know, whatever is that social, you know, interaction point or social clout, maybe. Yeah. All right. So.
What's the reach?
I can go into that.
Oh,
just give me a second.
Very interesting.
Thank you. I just want to wrap up. So, you know, 3 things I wanted to share with you today in the beginning. How businesses confuse social media, too much promotion, not enough relationship building. That's one point. The second point is it's a social space. We interact, we share. That is important to us and businesses to build relationships. That's the new perspective. The third point is we can capture value as businesses if we look a little deeper, a little smarter. We do a little analytics, a little intelligence. How do we segment influencers? How can we build ambassadors? Those 3 points. So the key to success, like I said, it's not about promotion, it's about building relations. And, sorry for the 10 times graphic. And it's not about just understanding your social footprint, but it's also very much about influence around your business. With that, thank you. Yes. All right, questions, and I'm going to go straight for you.
The reach on the social spread pattern you have.
Yeah.
What's the reach?
So it's,
We don't know what science about.
yeah, so here's the,
How far?
yeah. So that's another thing that I have to sort of bring as a discussion point. So when you are a B2B, it's not about reach at all. It's qualitative. So we could have reached 1 million more people, but we chose only maybe 50 or 100 people that had impact to the business, and we only looked at them. So it's not quantity, it's quality.
Yeah, man, I'm asking
Yeah.
because if we look at future businesses, what we have right now,
Yeah.
it's not B2B, it's not B2C.
It's
all
H2H.
fluid, organic.
Yeah.
So the reach
Mhm.
is interesting in that regard.
Yes.
What's the reach? Because influence will come not only from maybe you're B2B, but as co-workers, daily work,
Yeah.
they get B2C,
Yeah.
they get influence. on
But
the
how do you define reach? Because there are many ways to define reach.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, like cloud could be a form of reach. Yeah.
It's multidimensional.
Yeah.
If we were to do a proper reach,
Yeah.
it would be quantum mechanics. But
Quantum mechanics?
yeah, you know,
Okay.
some kind of multidimensional.
I've not reached that far yet.
Yeah,
But maybe I'll attend your speech.
I know, but the reach you have
Yeah.
is very interesting.
Yeah.
And it's just,
Yeah.
I know you have to do some kind of filtering
Yeah.
on what kind of reach you want to
Yeah.
do. But how many layers
Yeah.
you do the reach in?
Okay, so I think I understand where you're coming from. So I think what he's asking
How
is,
you analyze the ripple.
yeah, I get it. So I think that's a very fair point, right? Because I could analyze my customers, or we could analyze our friends based on what they like. We could also analyze our friends based on how often they are on Facebook. We can look and stalk them if we are too much stalkers. I don't want to say we are stalkers. We are just curious and interested about our friends. That's normal. It's healthy. We care about them. And, you know, of course we can look much layer, right? But the answer lies in how much it matters to your business. Simple as that. That's in the end. You don't want to go too much that doesn't matter, because you can get so curious about something and then you're losing the plot. Right? What's the point of getting so curious? You're only as curious as it is important to your business, and that is important, most importantly actually, to your customer. So if you truly understand your customer and you know that they like this, this, and this, and then you can help them gain more about what they like, for me, that's what business ultimately is going to be successful doing, right? Any other questions? I give it another minute or so. You know, no questions is not always a good thing. Either I lost you all or either you got it all. All right, if not, thank you very much. Thanks again. Yeah, just on time.